여보세요, 감사합니다. Welcome back, and I just wanted to quickly say thank you very much. We hit 1,000 subscribers, which it seemed like we were on track to make it, but I had said before, I never would have imagined that we'd actually ever get there. I did, this channel, my channel, is what I mean. I never thought that there would be 1,000 subs, but it's a really, really awesome thing. It's very special to me. It means a lot. I know that it's in comparison to the rest of the landscape on YouTube and stuff, it's still relatively small, but to me it's like it's a million, so that's, I just want to say thank you, because it's, I have that much appreciation for every single one who has subscribed. It's it may as well be a billion. I mean, it's really, really cool. It's very exciting. It's very awesome, and I thank you very much. Today I wanted to check out Onew. Now, this is going to be my first time hearing Onew. I know he is a member of Shiny, so we have checked out Minho before. But this actually seems pretty interesting. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if this is his first solo album or not. But I know it is the most recent one. And it looks like pretty interesting. I mean, I was reading a little bit about the album itself. And it looks really interesting. There's some people saying some interesting things about it. Even the appearance of the album and such has people thinking in a certain way musically. So I thought, oh well, that's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. It looks really cool. And so I wanted to go ahead and check out the first track off of this album, and it's called Circle. And it's kind of conceptually, intriguing, right? Because, I mean, you have, okay, we got the concept of a circle. So, okay. It's got 2 dimensions, right? It's in 2 dimensions. It's not a sphere. That would be 3 dimensions, right? So for a circle shape, what we have is points across 2 dimensions that go 360 degrees. But then also, in the Korean alphabet, when you have that circle, right, that placeholder syllable, right, it's really interesting, man, because it's supposed to not really have a sound. I mean, it depends on where it goes in the character, right? In the syllable character. Even in the name Onew, right? You see it at the top, and it comes at the start of the syllable, so it doesn't have a pronunciation. If it came at the end, that's where you get the ng, for like in like Cheyoung, right? Or Jongyeon, right? The ng sound, that double consonant sound. So it's interesting, right? Because there's this idea that started in Eastern philosophy that also has been sort of derived into Western philosophy too, about use coming from what is, and usefulness coming from what isn't. One example would be like, you have a wall with a door in it. The door is what gives you access. The wall, has the use, but the door, where it creates a space where there is no wall, that's what allows you to make use of it, right? And so that's what gives you this both inside and outside, right? And another example is if you can imagine a wheel and all the spokes meet in the center, right? So the wheel has use. It's, turns, and it allows you to, if you have enough of them, you can, use them to make some sort of vehicle or something. But it's that center part that doesn't have anything there, right? You need to be able to access that part of the wheel to put the axle there. That's how you can make it turn and get use out of it. So these are just the things I start thinking about when I see a kind of vague concept, at least in the name of something, right? Like a circle. Okay. So interesting. But without any more sort of thoughts about it ahead of time, let's just go ahead and hear what it sounds like.
영원히 태양, 바람, 구름, 비와 바다로 봄과 여름, 가을, 겨울 사이로 만남, 이별 모두 다른 적 없는 파도 위에 우린 함께 흘러가고 다른 얼굴과 다른 모양의 마음들 부족하지도 완벽하지도 않음으로 아름다운 것 같은 태양이 아래서 다른 그림자를 그리는 우리 이름이 채 붙지 않은 마음이 있어 천천히 동이트는 느린 새벽의 행복 손에 잡히지 않아도 가지는 게 있어 분명히 내가 알고 있는 좋은 내 모습 영원히 태양, 바람, 구름, 비와 바다로 봄과 여름, 가을, 겨울 사이로 만남, 이별 모두 다른 적 없는 파도 위에 우린 함께 흘러가고 사람들은 웃고 나만 힘든 것 같았을 때 내가 웃을 때 누군가의 긴 밤은 사무치게 외로웠을 때 서로 그렇게 닮아서 말없이 않을 수 있는 우리 기억에선 지워져도 남는 게 있어 나 어릴 적에 꿈꿔왔던 초록빛 세상처럼 말을 하지 않아도 쓰여진 게 있어 별다른 이유 없이 사랑해준 마음들 영원히 태양, 바람, 구름, 비와 바다로 봄과 여름, 가을, 겨울 사이로 만남, 이별 모두 다른 적 없는 파도 위에 우린 함께 흘러가고 태양, 바람, 구름, 바다 돌고 둥근 만남, 이별 다시 끝나지 않아 없는 영원
So this is it is very interesting. What a unique type of space, you have the intro and outro there with that very chromatic swirling arpeggiation, right? It sounds like a loop that is sped up. And as soon as I heard it, I start, okay, I'm trying to find the count actually already. And I know it's not, like, I know that's not the count. I knew it was going to be something, a different tempo, right? A lower tempo than that. But it was really interesting to keep that sort of flourishing chromatic loop going once we got a much more down-tempo drum and bass section, right? So there's a lot going on, like on these different layers. I mean, you have that one layer, right, with that chromatic loop that just is going on and on. There's a lot of color in that, like a whole lot. That might be, oh goodness. Like that might actually be a 12-tone loop. In other words, a whole bunch of a bunch of half steps, and it's like all the colors, say in a spectrum, all broken up, right? But it's so where it sits, because it's higher up in pitch, and it's panned right too, like it stays over here in the right side. It doesn't go like over here to the left and then back to the right. It stays over here. And so it gives you this, it's almost like the sun. That's what it is. It's like the sun, because it has all the colors in it and it stays up here, right? Think of like the image of when he was in the garden, almost like that TV show, like a sort of Mr. Rogers type of set, right? It's the sun and it's shining on everything. And then you have the bass, which is really, really big. It takes up a lot of the space that's left open in the left, but it also has presence in the right. And that is very much like the ground. Obviously a lower tempo, but also the difference in pitch, because you have to consider a higher pitch is vibrating at a higher frequency versus a lower pitch, which sort of undulates. So that chromaticism, that loop that's going on, is like real fast, right? And the bass is it's a big wave. It's a big wave, right? And it takes up so much of the space underneath it. The percussion is very, very skeletal. It's in 4, right? So what you have is a very light cymbal hit, a little tap on 2 and 4. It's super smooth, right? Like it's definitely like this laid back R&B type of groove. But it's so light. It's like a little kiss, and it's such an interesting space. It's really not like something you hear all that often, nobody really does that. You could probably find examples of things that are close to it, but it's a very, very interesting texture and use of the space that you create there, right? Because of course there's some reverb on both, so this shiny glimmery thing that's going on up here, you can hear its little tracers and its little echoes, and the bass is just so huge that it is there, but it's such a rich sound, like it's so full that it's not really something that comes through too strongly. Vocally is very like airy, It's like an interesting take. I noticed that SM will do this more on solo, perhaps performances, or like maybe subunit type of things, a lot of their groups, if you think like, your Red Velvets and Espas and stuff, they like things to be very sort of clean and strong and like, concise, very, very depth, very finite. Everything's articulated very well. They don't tend to lean into airy swimminess, really, so, unless it's something like a solo performance like this, or, I think of the, what was it, SM Town Live, some of the things on there, like the way they would sing is not really the way that they would done it in the group, like for some recordings. It's a different approach to the vocals depending on what it is, right? If it's a group or if it's a solo or something like this. He has that very nice, what is it, like alto range kind of? Because if he's touching tenor, it's the upper half. He's got a very strong falsetto. It's like, it doesn't, when he goes up into his head voice, it sounds really wide. I mean, if somebody adds fullness to it when you go down, into your chest voice. I mean, so a bass, a tenor, a baritone, even up into the upper ranges of a tenor, you can still get a lot of, expand out a lot. But he's got a very full sort of higher register, right? So even when he goes up, it still has such, shape to it. Like it doesn't narrow. It doesn't get thinner as it goes up, really. A little bit, because it's going to do that. Again, a pitch becomes faster, so it does sort of lose a little bit of its size, but it stays very strong throughout. Like it's good, man. It's good. He's got a fantastic voice. Really great use of it too. Interesting rhythms too. There's like the fun in the way that the space is created, right? Is that the vocal rhythms become very interesting all of a sudden when he can use there are some lines where he's straight eighth notes, so it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then there are other lines where he will go with the 16th notes, right? So you get 1 again, a 2 again, like you get different subdivisions, and that's really the most that's going on as far as rhythm. But between the chromatic looping thing that's going on up here and the bass, I mean, that's a really fun part. It's just that main vocal part, which makes sense. That's exactly what you would want it to be. Like you want it to occupy all that space in all the rhythm, right? And everything that's available. It's a very interesting sound and texture to create, and the space too, the way that it's done. It's kind of crazy. The way this starts and the way it ends, it kind of reminds me of A Day in the Life from the Beatles, Sgt. Pepper, right? The way that there's all that noise really in the beginning and the end, as you get the swirling string sound, like rising, and the sound of people talking, like a crowd noises, and it just becomes this almost like white noise, right? Like, because it's just sort of saturating everything. All the frequencies are in there, and it's this swirling thing, but you can still pick out like the different sounds that are there. And it just sort of reminded me, especially when on the outro part, when it did the same things. Oh man, this is really interesting. But let's see. Watch. From the beginning. Yeah, so it's like it's sound like synth strings, or even an actual string loop, that something that's recorded and then a bit digitized, like the way it's treated in production. There's a couple of effects added to it, but when it comes down, you hear that when it hits the low end of that, you can really hear the sound of the bow across the string. So it sounds either synth or played and then looped, but it sounds like a string sound to me. And you have the fast part. There's two parts to it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 40 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 40. And then there's another eighth note that's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and boom 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 boom. And that sound like more of a soft synth type of sound. It's really interesting though. Like it's so it's crazy. It already starts doing this weird stuff with the space. I hear it a little bit in the left, and an ambience.
적 없는 파도 위에 우린 함께 흘러가고.
So even the syncopation on the first phrase, the first vocal phrasing, the sound that he was coming in on the like right before the actual one, right? A 1, a 2, a 3, right? It's so interesting. It's really intricate. Like it really is. It's a really intricate use of space as far as that horizontal aspect is concerned. And I was waiting for the beat drop too. It's really good. I was like, we're building up the anticipation so well, and it's not. It's a strong bass, but it isn't like too much. It's actually the way of the production touch on it, right? There's weight, but it's not like too hard, right? It's like boom. It is very earthy in contrast to that very, sort of sun-like chromaticism that's going on.
우린 함께 흘러가고 다른 얼굴과 다른 모양의 마음들 부족하지도 완벽하지도 않음으로 아름다운 것 같은 태양이 아래서 다른 그림자를 그리는 우리 이름이 재붙지 않은 마음이 있어 천천히 독립되는 느린 새벽의 행복.
So now there's piano chords that come in too. Okay, yeah, so that's what it is. You got that loop that's going on over top, and you get the bass. I'm hearing most of that percussion sound like right also, but there's now it's piano chords that are coming in pan right also. They have a little bit of reverb. Like it's not a dry signal. I don't think there's any dry signals in this mix at all. Everything has at least a touch of reverb. I don't hear too much delay because I don't hear things repeating really. It's a very unique texture.
손에 잡히지 않아도 가지는 게 있어 분명히 내가 알고 있는 좋은 내 모습 영원히 태양 바람 구름 비와 바다로 봄과 여름 가을 겨울 사이로 만남 이별 모두 다른 적 없는 파도 위에 우린 함께 흘러가고 사람들은.
So I'm that felt to me like the chorus section, and you get all these backing vocals that come in there. It makes a choral arrangement too of the vocal parts there. And so his voice is, of course, sort of front and center. Like it's the loudest one. It has the most presence. It has the most, it's the biggest sound. The others are very, not only are they panned left and right, but they have definitely some reverb, and now I hear a little bit of delay on there too, because it's as though they're very far away. Like it's not just like a group of people right here. There's another dimension as far as the space, right? Because now he's in the foreground. And these backing vocals are like very much in the back, like in the background. Like there's physical space separating him from his voice from the other voices. And I hear at least two in the right that tend to be a little bit brighter. And then there's one or two that are a little bit more panned left, and they sound a little bit lower, a little bit darker kind of then, right? If these are bright and a little bit more punchy, then this is dark and a little bit more laid back kind of. It's a very artistic type of composition for sure. A lot of little intricacies. Nice. See the way that last line ended, right? He was at the bottom of his register. Ooh-wee, ooh-wee. And then da 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 da, like coming in on the next line. Now he's reaching up into the head voice. A lot of this imagery too. This right here, you've got some of the staircase imagery, the ladder. A lot of this is about moving in between dimensions or moving in between spaces. Like that's what this like sort of tunnel represents. I like this isn't the first time. You can see this in like tons and tons of videos, probably going back a long time, but I know for sure like since the early 2000s kind of. But this imagery very much is trying to relay this idea of moving between dimensions kind of. See, really strong, really like in the beginning of that verse part, let's say, when he jumps up into the higher range, it's very breathy, airy, like a lot of almost whispery type of texture around the center of the voice. But as he got near the end of that verse section, it got stronger, like it filled out. There was less of that airiness and more actual, like strong resonant sound, strong pitch. Like the body of it expanded, and dynamically also rose up as well. It's a really good high note. It's a really good, way to even approach reaching that high point. Again, the composition is the artistry of it, right? This is trying to create in image very much.
바람, 구름, 비와 바다로 봄과 여름, 가을, 겨울 사이로 만남, 이별 모두 다른 적 없는 파도 위에 우린 함께 흘러가고 태양, 구름, 돌고 둥근.
So his line is like the back vocals, right, is still on its rhythm like it has been before, but his melody has completely just, you know, taken off. Like he's flying, you know. See, you see how he's doing this sort of winged type, you know, holding his arms out as if he's flying. And that's what the melody line is doing also. It's free now. It's going wherever it wants to go. You know, it's having fun. You know, I like, look at this imagery again, right? This ladder that goes, there's nothing there. I mean, you know, if you're thinking of it as the image, so that's just the sky, that's just the air, but you have this ladder that's going straight up to a door that's in the middle of the sky. Like, you know, this image is not, it's about going from one dimension into another. It's, I mean, you see it, but not really like this very often anymore. You see it in a different context. This is much more abstract, but it's really interesting, man. It's really, you got these rabbits and the books and the lamb and the mushrooms here, you know, a bit Alice in Wonderland like. I mean, you know, it's interesting, man. It's interesting. Yeah, man, it's cool. It's cool. He's got like, his whole range is strong. Whether he's at the lower end of it or at the upper end of it, it's very, very strong. It's got great delivery, right? Really can put a lot of, you know, power behind it, a lot of air behind it, man, to make a big dynamic sound. And it doesn't matter if it's low or if it's high. He's actually really balanced between the two. And it's a very unique song, man. It's really interesting. From its actual composition and mix, right up to the visuals that went along with it. I'm trying to think. I haven't overtly seen something like this in a while. I would actually say that New Jeans video and song are the closest thing to it. You know, it just, even in the sound, even the way, like, it, because they are very unique. You know, getting to almost like a bit psychedelic, and a sort of house, you know, electronic indie type of feel to it. It's fairly minimalist, but the use of space is what is really unique. Creating this almost visual imagery, you know, this living painting, this in real time story, you know, this, like, it was it's really good, man. It's really cool. It's like, man, I definitely want to check out this album for sure. Because everything about it looks like really intriguing. And if I just go off of this one song and video, the artistic aspect of it, that like they're really coming at this from that perspective or that type of approach, like this is Onew as an artist, not so much as an idol or a pop idol or something. This is much more like an artist trying to, express artistically. This isn't just about fashion or about style, or this has definitely a more personal meaning, kind of, and it's a very interesting creation. Even the lyric too. This is talking about natural cycles, the seasons, life, growing up, time. Like it is a it is a bit philosophical, actually. Now that I consider it all, it's very good. It's very high caliber art stuff. No, it makes sense. If I'm, because I'm thinking now, okay, well, Minho was the other one, and it was Chase, also a very, personal, artistic type of song, very expressive. So it makes sense. That's consistent between the solo members, right? Like the approach to it and everything. It's really good, man. It's really cool. I mean, I want to check out the rest of the album now. I like, where does he go? Like just in terms of an album, where do you go if this is the first track and you sort of set this tone? I'm curious to see where else he goes, album, in terms of the structure of the album, what the other songs, what other styles are being used. What does he do? A pop idol type of thing? Does he go more into an upbeat type of R&B, hip hop, jazz? I mean, you know what I mean? Like there's different styles that are possible for sure, but how's it done? How, where does he go? Where does he go with it? Because everything about this, like I said, the visuals and everything was about moving between dimensions, and such an interesting use of space and everything. Very artistic stuff, man. It's very cool. Is it like, it's very classy, you know what I mean? It's like there's nothing there's no faults, no deficiencies or anything. This is something that was delivered with a lot of intention, with a lot of thought, a lot of reflection, introspection, and such great composition. Again, this is SM, so what you get is like a very, very intelligent composition, and that's what allows for all of these intricate and interesting sounds, right? That's how we got this really unique texture and the use of space and the way the melody uses the available space in terms of the rhythm. Yeah, it's very interesting, man. It's very sweet. And it just makes me want to listen to the rest of the album. So I'll probably go ahead and just download this one. You know what I mean? Like I think I might as well, because I'm gonna be too curious about it if I don't see where the rest of this goes. Because this is, like I said, it's a very artistic but very, very high level artistry going on here. It's very cool. Onew from Shiny Circle. It's actually very outstanding across all of the different aspects, from the composition all the way up to the visual. It's really a treat. It's really something very, very nice, very, very endearing.